I buy faulty electronic items, attempt to fix them and sell them for a profit. This is where we currently stand, minus £257.49. But I have an update to make. I recently sold an Xbox Series X that I wasn't able to fix for £143.60. After postage, that gives us a net profit of minus £14.39, which is very close to our estimated profit, or should I say loss, of £13.50. So if I add up the items from episode 4, which is now 100% accurate, we have minus £54.39. I'm still waiting to sell a Nintendo Switch from episode 3, but that actually updates our total loss to minus £113.89. I need a miracle today to hopefully pull a big profit. Welcome your faces back to season 2, episode number 5 of the series Profit or Loss. I'm going to start with an item that was actually reasonably priced. I paid £35 for this Nintendo Switch Lite. Not the best condition you've ever seen, but also not horrendous. We seem to be missing the white analog sticks on both sides, and it looks like somebody's gone into the device because we have the serial number missing. Somebody could have just taken that off, but more so this crack here by the USB-C port itself. We have 2 screws at the bottom, and we've also got 2 screws at the top. Do we have a game? No. What about an SD card? No, doesn't look like it. Now, I actually purchased this one on eBay, and the company that I bought this from sells a lot of broken devices, but I believe they do repairs first, and if they can't fix it, they then sell it on. I really took a pump with this one, being £35. I don't have much to lose. Let's head on over to the scope and check the port. All right, well, that's a good sign in my opinion. The charging port itself looks pretty busted up. We've got a couple of pins down there, down the bottom right. Like I said though, it looks like it's been opened before. I mean, the screws don't look like they've been touched, but when you have this crack, that's usually what it means. And it's very, very possible that we could just have a damaged port here. The other likely issue we might have is that we have a damaged CPU, and that's why they put it back together and sold it. So, without further ado, let's get it taken apart. Oh, fun fact as well, in season 1 of Profit or Loss, at this point, I was about £250 in the positive. So yeah, we've definitely had a worse off start. It can't get much worse, can it? We have a big issue. This might be over before it even starts. Corrosion, not even corrosion, rust. What's going on here? Let me take it apart a little bit further. Honestly, I think I just massively upset the repair gods recently. I must have done something wrong. Board's out. Let's check this. Damage, shall we? I mean, that will come off. This little bit of water stain that we got here. Lovely jubbly. No problems whatsoever. Ultrasonic cleaner that, and we're going to be looking beautiful. This, I don't know. Maybe, potentially, it might just be a little bit of covering and that's it. Obviously, the port needs to come off anyway. The water sticker indicator has seen better days. Come on, my friend. It's okay. Looking at other areas on the board. All right, around the max IC. We've probably got a shorted cap here because that corrosion is conductive, which is why we have the issues we have with water damage. It's most probably bridging these 2 areas, which is ground and something of importance. Meters in continuity mode. If I touch here, I'm wrong. So don't listen to anything that I've just said. We do have 98 ohms here, which I don't think is correct. Yeah, we've got 98 ohms and this side is ground. We move over. The SD card reader shows a little bit of liquid damage. But yeah, board inspection, very important. As we know, deja vu. I feel like I was here last episode, in fact, with another Nintendo Switch Lite, to be honest. But this doesn't look too far gone. As far gone as what the last one did anyway. Now let me turn the board over and look at our areas of M92 and BQ. Lovely. Yep, not water damage in the slightest. Back of the port. Seen better days again, but should be okay, to be honest. I've got some real good hope here. Back of the APU, clean. Yeah. This max IC here, all clean. This area always gets water damage. I don't know why. It always gets liquid damage. But yeah, exactly the same. Nowhere near as bad as what it was previous in terms of last episode. So that's good. I feel like I've got faith with this Nintendo Switch Lite. I am going to pop the cover on the Wi-Fi IC though. Please don't be too bad under here. Please. Let's all look together. Because for some reason I have more faith. If I look on the camera, we're going to be okay. Yeah. Do you know what? All right. I'm okay with that. All of these components under here, none of them look liquid damage in the slightest. Maybe we've got a little bit of rust around the caps and what are these, like little inductors down here, but I think they'll clean up nicely once we've gone into the ultrasonic cleaner. The Wi-Fi chip itself looks okay. I think this is just going to need a clean and a replacement charging port. We might be okay. Well, I just lost all the buttons to that. As for the chassis, I don't know if the screen's going to work, nor the digitizer, etc, etc. So I will need to test that. But the fan looks clean. Everything else looks all right. The door to board, again, we don't know if that works, so I might have to swap it out. I'm going to give this a nice clean. The ultrasonic clean is going to take a while. So do you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to move on to our next item now, and we'll come back to this a little bit later on. This next item I actually bought from a viewer of the channel. So a big shout out to James. Thank you, James. The item is a PS5 Disc Edition console. It powers on, then pulses for about 2 to 3 seconds, and then shuts off. James has said, however, it will work eventually, and when it does, it works for hours and hours. And normally when you shut it down, it will start up straight away. It's very weird. So it seems like we have a rather intermittent power issue. Now, maybe this might even be something as simple as a power supply. What I do love about this PS5, as you can tell, this lovely cover. It's amazing. So remember, £160 for this bad boy. Let's just verify that that's exactly what happens when we go to power this on. I'm thinking UART is going to be our best friend here, because if it does beep 3 times, we should be able to get something from UART. Right, 3, 2, 1. Okay, there we go. We have the blue light. Oh, it's not just going to work, is it? There we go. Okay, powered off. All right, interesting. And then we get a beep. Go to power it on again. Disk drive as well. Nothing in disk drive. So what's that, about a 3-second plod? Maybe 4, 5, 6. Is it going to work now? I think it's going to turn on. Is the fan going? Fan's going. Has been open before as well. We got just a pulsing blue. There we go. Is that a white light? No, it's still blue. Zoom you in a bit. Still blue light. I've just plugged HDMI in. I'm going to check the monitor, see what we get. Interestingly, I don't actually get a display. And it's been on a blue light now for way over a minute. Coming up to probably, I'd say, 2 minutes or more. Interesting. Let's hold down the power button and actually shut it off properly. And there it's shut off. Okay. Out of interest, what happens when I try and put this into safe mode? Let's see. So power in, hold down power button. We get fan spin. Just want to see if I get a second beep on the console. Do I get a second beep? Give me that second beep. There it is. There's the second beep. Let me see if I get... And it goes straight to a white light here. Interesting. Imagine if it was just a software issue. Does it show on the monitor? It does show on the monitor. I just get safe mode straight away. Awesome. I'm going to see if I can replicate that a couple times in safe mode and just make sure that we get consistency there. Second beep, straight to safe mode, straight to white light. Look at that. I'll do this a couple more times every time it boots into safe mode. I wonder if I can just reset the system software and that works. Okay, so here we go. Let's put it into safe mode. I've got you on a different camera now as well. I've got the controller all hooked up. We have the orange light around the PS5 controller to indicate it's okay. My monitor always does that the first time around for some reason. So we're going to put it on HDMI 1 now. It always takes 2 times. And now you can see it says HDMI. It's going to work. It's strange and annoying. So we press the button. We can do reinstall system software. We can just go reset and clear cache, etc. I'm going to start with the simple things. I've just plugged the Ethernet cable in as well because I do want to update the system software. So update using internet. Something went wrong. That was really quick. Now it just turns off. Try that again. I've just restarted it. Update from internet. Something went wrong. And it gives no option other than to turn off the PS5. Okay. Let's go for another simple one, which is going to be clearing the cache, whatever you want to call it. That was very quick, and now it's just started up. Looks like it has already been factory reset then. So this is me the first time booting this device. Let's see if there is a system update. There is an update available. As you can see, the update seems to be going through absolutely fine. The PlayStation 5 hasn't actually turned off yet, other than doing the restarts that it needs to do for the installation. It did just turn off, and it's just turned back on. And here we go. Now we have just the standard PlayStation, create an account and all that sort of stuff. So I just went ahead and played a bunch of Astro's Playroom and no issues at all. Console is quiet, didn't shut off on me, absolutely fine. I've now just disconnected the power. I'm going to plug it in just to kind of give it that hard reset sort of thing and see what happens. See if it has the issue that we had previously. So turn it on, fan spin. What happens here? Let's pay attention. Blue light. Is it going to go to a white light or is it going to shut off? Looks like it's staying on. Straight to a white light. Would you look at that? I will say as well that the fan chassis here is bent inwards slightly, and obviously we don't have a warranty sticker because I think they took it apart before to clean. I've just disabled HDCP and we're in. Yeah, it's turned on absolutely fine first time. I tested out God of War, by the way, by disc to make sure that it reads a disc, and it does. It's fine. So now I guess just try and replicate the issue and see if it continues to happen. My concern here is that maybe it happens when the PS5 has like a cold start. So if the power supply gets really, really cold and you go and turn it on, that's when you seem to have the issues. But what was really interesting is how every single time I booted into safe mode, it worked. So I need to just remember that. So go to boot again. And there we go. Look, boots into a white light and boots into the OS absolutely fine. This is a really tough, tricky, intermittent issue. I have actually just noticed in the original form that James filled out and says, but the problem has been there since it was opened. That potentially tells me that maybe something happened inside this console that I don't know about. So what I'm going to do is open it and have a look. We can sort out the liquid metal, and if needs be, I'll change the power supply when I'm in there, but I don't know if that is going to be the case. We'll find out. Let's take this apart and see if I can see any potential mistakes from when they opened it previously. So far, so good. All the screws seem to be in the right places, which is nice. Though that one is threaded. Don't think I've ever seen that screw threaded, to be honest. It's on the actual chassis of the disk drive that it's threaded as well. Well, I can't see anything that's jumping out at me that might be saying this is why this isn't working. It also looks like, I don't know if they've actually been down any further than this, because this little rubber gasket here hasn't even been taken off. This is around the Wi-Fi circuit. Something did just catch my eye. The cap here's got... Oh no, it's okay. Just checking around again. If they had unplugged these antennas, maybe they knocked a component, perhaps, or something along those lines. But it looks alright. Everything looks soldered and in place. Don't think that's a missing cap there. That's just factory not filled. We do see this on the ribbon cable for the LEDs. Potentially just a little bit of dirt, but yeah, that wiped off. Definitely has been taken apart because these are super threaded, I've not tried to take them out yet because I'm actually quite scared. It feels really weird as well. Why does that feel so weird in there? It's still really hard to unscrew, you know? Ugh, why is that? It shouldn't be that difficult to unscrew. I'm just going to check around the top side of here, make sure there's no damage, because for some reason in there it was ridiculously tight. I'm just checking around this IC, etc. Caps on the back of the APU seem to be okay from what I can tell. Remember, visual inspection is key. I keep telling myself anyway. That all looks okay, to be honest. Okay being the keyword there. Let's take this out of the chassis and see what the liquid metal situation is like. I'm going to use the term fine. From what I can see, there's only liquid metal on the heat sink part itself. Doesn't seem to be any that has gone afloat anywhere. BIOS battery quickly measured, and that is, I can confirm, at 3 volts, which is exactly what it's meant to be. I'm just trying to have a little bit of a visual inspection to see. Whoa, 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 what can I see there? Wait there, something's just caught my eye. Hello, what do we have here on? Yeah, okay. Now talk to me, because that could be very interesting. That is definitely missing a cap, isn't it? And you can see there's a bit of a scrape there as well. So I think maybe this was accidental, and maybe, just maybe, we have an issue with there only being 3 caps on this rail. Now, I'll be honest, I doubt it, but that cap should have been there for a reason. A temperamental issue like this could be something as simple as perhaps these caps aren't able to take the load properly. That probably sounds like a real Joey explanation of things, but as far as I'm aware, caps store voltage. So if in the circumstance that these 3 are storing whatever they need to, and then it's just relying on one more whilst the console's booting up and it's not getting that, maybe that's where we've got our issue. Perhaps this cap was shorted previously, and to fix it they've removed it, but it does look like it was accidentally scraped off. Can you see we've got the copper reveal here? I'll continue checking across the board, but wow, board inspection for the win. That could be all it is, but I'm just gonna, microscopes, I've taken it up a little bit so I can cover more surface area, but I'm just gonna very carefully now inspect this. And I don't think it's coincidence that, again, we have startup issues, and this, I believe, is on the 12-volt rail. So I now just basically took my time inspecting every single little area of the board, and I couldn't seem to find anything. All right, Joe, so what are you going to do? We're going to add some flux here and add some leaded to the board. The way that they're connected, that's going to be absolutely fine. But I know that some people might not like it. So see if we can go ahead and remove that, shall we? There we go, that's better. The isopropyl alcohol, and now a toothbrush. Get it all nice and clean in there. There we go. That looks all right to me. Whether or not that's going to make a difference, I've got no idea. But also, I've just taken this from a donor because for the sake of science, I want to measure the cap and see what the actual value is for any future reference if needs be. 20 microfarad. Obviously not going to be able to tell the voltage, but yeah, 20 microfarad that is. Again, I've looked over the rest of the board. I can't really find any other issues outlying. And because this is an intermittent problem, it's going to suck. But I'm just going to have to put it back together as much as I can and see if we can duplicate the error that we had at the start of recording this PlayStation 5. Right, so this has been off for, you know, it's got to be 20 minutes or so now. So it should have essentially a cold start enough for me to be able to test this. Not going to touch the fan because the error happens usually at the start. So let's see what the situation is. Right, power in. 3, 2, 1. Okay, blue light. Does it go straight to a white light? or is it going to turn off? Pulse in blue. White light. Okay. Yeah, that was around about the amount of time that it should take. Plug in that HDMI again. There we go. Straight to boot. Okay, turn it off. Again, I've disconnected the power lead itself from the power supply. What happens? Another cold start. 3, 2, 1. Beep. There we go. Straight to a white light. Lovely jubbly. I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to sell it straight away. I need to give this a few more test runs before I call it good. But for the sake of the series profit or loss, I kind of need to update you now within this episode. And we'll call it fixed. If I leave it overnight, it should be cold enough so that when I try it in the morning, if the error is going to happen, I'm assuming it's going to be around about then anyway. But yeah, every single time I go to start this now, again, without the fan connected or anything else, it goes to a white light. So that is happy days. The beauty of profit or loss is that I can always update going forward. So even in the event of me feeling like I've tested this a bunch of times and I sell it, and perhaps what might happen is the seller might go, oh, it's been 2 weeks and now I've got that issue again. Worst case, we can refund that customer, get this back, and even potentially sell it as faulty. But I do believe because of the power rail it was on, that cap might have been pretty important. Well, that certainly was an interesting one that I've never seen before. So for the time being, we can call that a profit. Let me know, by the way, in the comments if you think that was the issue as well or not. Alas, I've now taken the Nintendo Switch Lite out of the ultrasonic cleaner. It's had a little bit to dry, and I've given it a nice further dry with some hot air. Let's check the results. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, yeah, it's cleared majority of that rust up. But again, the solution I have in the ultrasonic cleaner is not a rust remover. It is simply to get flux and water damage off of the board. How are we looking around the max? Yeah, there we go. See, look, that looks 10 times better now, doesn't it? Whereas we had quite a bit of corrosion around there before. That looks pretty clean. Battery terminal, obviously okay as well. I've still got the port on. I'll change that out in a sec. We should be able to just scrape this little bit of further rust off first. But what I am going to do is remove this shielding. I will also look to put one back. It's just, yeah, I need to get rid of this. What I don't want this rust doing is damaging anything further. So it needs to come off. And the way that I think I'm going to do that is heat from the underside here. I don't think it will take much to pull this off, and it's better to have it off than on, in my opinion. So let's do that. 450 degrees Celsius with an airflow speed of 50%. A little bit tricky because of the position of this. I'm probably going to take it off like that. And the thing that I really need to be cautious of is the fact that I don't want to knock any of these components when I'm taking this off. There we go. I think I actually done an okay job. Better than I thought I would, that's for sure. And the good thing is, I've got so many donors of these because they're not something that I usually change. Whilst this is hot, let me just go ahead and change out the charging port. And when I say change out, just remove it from the board for the time being. 2 birds with 1 stone and all of that. Jubbly. Again, whilst we're here, just applying some flux on where the port was and some leaded solder. Give that a nice little clean. And now I'm going to see if I can get this rust off. This remaining rust, that is. With a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and a scrub. I imagine it should get rid of it, but maybe not actually. Doesn't look to be budging. What about if I just use a... Yeah, the tweezers will do it. Do what we can, eh? Can what we do. All of this so far, and I don't even know if it's going to work. Whilst I'm here, I'm just going to lower the melting temperature. And just stick some leaded around here. Right, let's get another shield on there then. Make sure that's on somehow so that it's not going to disturb any of those components. Probably as good as we're going to get at the moment. And then same again, heat from the bottom of the board. I'm a little bit reluctant to add flux right now because I don't think I'm going to need it, but we'll see. Heating from the bottom of the board, and we've got the leaded on now, so it should mix with the unleaded to cause a little bit of a lower melting temperature here. I think that's it. I accidentally nudged it, but I think it paid off. It was one of those. Right, how does this fit? Like a glove. And now we just sort the port out and we can give it a test. Flux back down. I'm just going to tin a port quickly. And there we have a tinned port. Lower our temperature now. I'm actually going to try 400 degrees and see how we get on. Move the air around. You don't want to keep it stagnant. If you keep it stagnant, that's when you burn the board, misshape the board, or even damage components. Right, 2 are done. Here we go. Go for the drop. There it goes. Keep that heat on, rotating. Make sure we're okay. Move it around a little bit. There we go. Come off the hot air. Move it away from the board. There we go. Check our work. Make sure that port's all good. quick clean first. How are we looking? That looks really nice. Just test. Don't think I need to, mind. Well, it's good. Sweet. Lovely. It's a nice port. And we've cleaned the rust up as much as we possibly can from here. So I'm going to check for shorts real quick, just around M92, T36 and BQ, etc. And then we're going to test this out. Fusey, McFusey, are you okay? Yes, you are. Good. M92. All good. BQ. All good. Nice. Okay, well, let's test. Right, ammeter at the ready. You can see it actually down here and up in the corner. Let's see what happens when we go to plug in just the motherboard, by the way. What I don't want is a big amp draw. I want like maybe 1 to 2, and then it settles and goes back down to 0. That will give me good faith. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. What do we get? 15 volts, that is. Very, very low milliamps. But the charger seems to be flickering on and off, but I don't know if that's because of that's what it's meant to do. The actual screen itself isn't doing that. So I don't know if it's because it's such low draw that it's doing that. So let me grab my other one just to confirm. Here we go. This one's a lot smaller. Doesn't look like we get anything. Ammeterception. Okay, this one turns on. So it must be my other cable, my Nintendo original one is bad. Okay, so we get 0.03, 0.02, and then it drops down to 0. Okay, try the other side just to make sure. 0.06, drop down to 0. Okay, it's holding at 0.06, 0.05. That's not horrendous. It's slowly dropping. That's not the most normal behavior, but I also don't have much experience with this specific ammeter, so I don't know what's normal or not. Put it back in this chassis to see if we can actually get it working. I've checked this board, and I can't see any signs of liquid damage. I've not checked the other side. Maybe I really should, just to make sure. I'll take this out quickly and just check that I don't have any severe liquid damage on the other side of it. Okay, so we do have a bit here, and this is literally on the side that I said I couldn't see anything, but it was tucked underneath the ribbon cable. But again, that doesn't look massively severe, and I see a little splash there, maybe splash here as well, but nothing in the connector, just on that ground connection there, and I can't see anything else on the other side of the board. So I think this is going to be absolutely fine with a little clean. It's just some IPA and a cotton swab. I think we'll be all right. Saying that, I don't think this actual screen works, in which case if nothing shows on the display, I'll try a different chassis. All right, moment of truth. Frankly, it's missing a lot of buttons because I just don't want it to be a waste of time and worry about putting everything back for it to just not work anyway. So here we go. Let's plug in the charger and see what happens. Ammeter on the screen. 3, 2, 1. Okay, 15, 116. Anything on the screen? Yes! Come on! Oh my gosh! Okay, let's not get our hopes up. It's now taking a pretty healthy 460 milliamps, which is good because the battery is taking more of a charge now. So there's obviously going to be a bunch of things that I need to test. The good thing being that we have a display, we have a backlight. Don't know about the digitizer just yet, but I'm hopeful. I'm super hopeful. Ultrasonic Cleaner is finally paying itself off. And this is only technically the second item that we tried. Okay, you ready? If I go to push the power button, you can see that the console boots. Not only that, but the touchscreen works absolutely fine. My only issue here that I'm a little bit upset about is if I go to test input devices, test the touchscreen, this is white. And I don't know if you can see, but we've got liquid damage on the actual LCD. Can you see if I hold it at this angle? You can't see it at any other angle. If I really lower the ISO here so you can just see the screen. Oh, to be fair, that actually shows really well on here, doesn't it? But yeah, from my eyes, you can't really see that. But for obvious reasons then, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to put it in this chassis, which is kind of annoying because if that wasn't the case, I would have just replaced the joysticks and it would have been good to go. So that's a win. I now just need to find a working chassis, transfer everything into that, and this one didn't even have a serial number anyway, and we should be able to call that 2 fixes. It's actually the next morning, and yes, I'm still wearing the same t-shirt. Last night I finished swapping over everything. I've got the buttons in place. This is a known good chassis with 2 working joysticks. They're brand new as well, so about £1 each, so I'll account for that in the overall costing. But everything's been transferred over. It took me a while because this chassis didn't have all the buttons and stuff. And if I go to plug it in, ready? We plug it in. What happens? We get the old battery symbol, which is good. And after a while, the device has turned on. However, I have some bad news. Now, I did have a note on the back of this chassis under the motherboard which said, good chassis to use. And I'm assuming this is going to be the chassis and not down to the motherboard. Can you see this like leaking of color down here? And again, down here in like the middle bottom half of the screen, we've got this, which unfortunately doesn't wipe off it is in fact the LCD. And it's like a brightness issue here and this little line. So all that time I spent sorting out this chassis with the new analog sticks, etc., I don't think I can use this chassis. And I'm really, really hoping and praying that it's the chassis and not something to do with the motherboard. When I use the term chassis, by the way, I'm talking about the actual screen itself, which means I'm going to have to transfer everything into another one now, just for my insanity to make sure that it's not the motherboard. I don't think it will be. So I'll be back with you shortly. Right, I tried another chassis after that, and the backlight on the actual display didn't work either. So I then had to go ahead and put it into a grey one. I've probably overall spent around about an hour just swapping into different chassis. But this is how we're looking. Look at my desk. That's how my desk looks. But yeah, this is probably by far one of the best kind of condition chassis that I have. The serial number is obviously going to be different, but I don't have the original, so I can't even transplant it over. But this looks really good. The only thing is that I had to get a donut ZL as well. So it looks a little bit off color to the others, but that's probably as good as we're going to get. And obviously good news, it turns on, touch works, sound works, the games work as well. I've tested Immortals Phoenix Rising, no issues there. So we are all fixed with this console. Before we round up, I am also going to test the PS5. It's been off all night. I've not tried to turn it on. This is a cold boot fresh. Cold boot fresh. Again, I actually left this out, but you can see there's no like screen damage on this one. So it was in fact just 2 dud screens previous to this. I'll probably keep one of them as like a test housing. Okay, here for our cold start on the PS5. Let's plug that in. We've got a nice crackle. Give it a couple of seconds. All right, 3, 2, 1. Issue be gone or issue stay strong? Just go to a white light, please. This is good. I think it would have turned off by now. Come on. Fan spinning. Blue light. Go to a white light. Come on. Oh no. It's just pulsing blue. Wait. Why is it just pulsing blue? I've put the HDMI cable in. We get nothing. I get nothing on the display and we've just got a pulsing blue light. I really thought it was fixed, because of how many times I turned it on yesterday. I believe it. I think the only thing that I can do is sell it. I could reinstall the PS5 operating system from scratch on USB and see if that is the cause, but I can't really afford to put any more time into this because it's such an intermittent, annoying issue. And that upsets me, and obviously it's not ideal that I'm not able to fix and resolve this. I really thought that cap was going to be it, but clearly it's still just a pulsing blue light. It's too temperamental for me to keep and plod along with. At least we got one fix today, and we might even still be able to make a profit with this console. Let's head on over to Sally's spectacular spreadsheet and round up today's episode. So our cost for the PS5 was 160, Switch Lite was 35, parts for the PS5 is 0. I only ended up using one analog stick for the Switch Lite, so it's that and the charging port, so I'll say around about £2 in parts. Estimated sale price for the PS5, I'll go 160 and we'll see. Nintendo Switch Lite, I'm going to say I should be able to get £90 for, which is a cushy little profit. Meaning if I look at our estimated total profit, we're looking at around about £30.50 for episode 5, which is rather nice. Hours worked, I'm going to say that was a total of around about 3 hours for everything. And currently the estimated net loss is minus 208.98. Put that there. And I'm still waiting on one Nintendo Switch to sell. And just to round it up, our estimated total profit is £23.65. Our actual total loss is minus £334.85. Tough pill to swallow today with that PS5, unfortunately. But thank you for watching. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. I'll see you as always in the next one. Peace.